Well, a very good afternoon to you. As you can see, we have a slightly different backdrop because we're now happily functioning back in the office, which is just great here in the heart of Henley. So you have an old picture of the main street of Henley just behind me here. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got hopefully a real treat for you this evening because this afternoon because we're going to share just the wonders of Henley Festival, which for most people, and this is true of the UK, let alone outside the UK, most people are completely unaware of this incredibly magical event that takes place at this time of year. So we're going to share it with you because I think it is something that if your clients are over here during um, in the early part of July, then it is something that they will absolutely love. There we go. So, in terms of privileged access to Henley Festival, a little bit like Henley Regatta, nobody will do it quite like we can here in Henley. Because if I'm honest, if it hadn't been for COVID, I would probably be at home right now, putting on all of my posh frock and so on, getting ready for a rather fabulous night at Henley Festival. It's quite incredible what happens from the last Sunday when Henley Regatta would have finished, through to the Wednesday tonight, which it would have been the start of Henley Festival. And the whole stewards enclosure, the whole members enclosure site changes from a centre for rowing excellence to the most amazing music festival. So, as we always promise, we can get you access like there is no tomorrow. And this isn't about celebrity. This isn't about, necessarily the finest tickets in the house. It's about experiencing one of the most incredible experiences. So let me share a little bit with you. Next year, it will be from the 7th to the 11th. It takes place over 5 evenings, and the gates open at about 5:30, 6 o'clock each evening. And as you'll get a hint from the picture below there, everybody's in black tie. So the ladies are all in our rather lovely long dresses and so on, and the chaps all look rather dapper in their black tie, and it's so special that that tradition has remained. There's something lovely about getting dressed up to turn up to it, and then as you amble through the whole festival site, of course everybody else is dressed up, and it feels just wonderful. And it really is quintessential England at its best. It is the only black tie festival in the country, and we do it really rather well. And I'll share some more details with you. But if you've got clients who just love immersing themselves in some of our slightly more quirky traditions, some of our slightly more funny ways, then Henley Festival will certainly deliver on every level. So the most amazing thing, or one of the most amazing things about Henley Festival is, instead of being on the riverside and watching the rowers go past, they construct this incredible floating stage. So all of the musicians and so on are on the stage, and in front of the stage is what's called the lawn area with all of the seating. And then there's a beautiful grandstand that rises up behind. So it's an incredibly intimate music festival, but probably about 1,500, 2,000 people per night. Now, to give you a feel for the types of performers, we've had everybody from Elton John and Tom Jones and Jessie J, and Shirley Bassey, Lionel Richie. So a lot of the performers, dare I say it, maybe the slightly older timers, who then go on and perform at Glastonbury, have often performed at Henley. So we really do get the big names. And there aren't many places where you could get that up close and personal to Elton John, Jessie J, and so on. And it's quite funny when they all turn up, when these performers turn up for the first time and appear on stage, and they look out, and that you can almost see the look of bewilderment on their face that we're all there in our posh frocks and the chaps are all in black tie. It's not something that they're quite used to seeing, but they certainly get into the spirit. So this shows you just a little snapshot, and as you can see, it's just a beautiful setting. There are lots of lovely bars and restaurants where you can do more casual eating and drinking, and I'll share the more formal side. Um, but lots of people just mingling, having a glass of champagne, looking out across the river, and you can see from that picture there just how close to the river we are, and how all the boats moor up alongside the riverside. It's magical. It really is a wonderful evening, particularly when the English sun shines down on us as it was there. And there are some amazing elevated positions. There's not quite sure who that was performing on the stage. Um, but it really is just beautiful. And as the light starts to fall, you can see all the lights on the boats, because the boats just moor either side of the stage, and all the lights just twinkle and so on. It's just beautiful. And at the end of every evening, your clients will see one of the most amazing firework displays that they'll ever see. They have they combine them with water displays, the most incredible music, performers, you name it. It's quite amazing. And talking of the performers, as you can see from this picture here, it's one of the real quirky treats of festival, that these amazing, you call them street performers, just wander around the site, and they really engage with everybody at festival, and they're glorious. They're so creative and imaginative. So when we turn up at sort of 6 o'clock or so, people will generally sort of amble around and so on. Obviously, you can go to sit down in the restaurants. The floating stage headliners normally come on stage at about 8:45, something like that. So there's plenty of time to really soak up the atmosphere and meet all of these roving performers and so on. And a relatively new addition, probably in the last couple of years, have been some incredible comedian acts within the comedy club, and they may not be, I guess, massive names outside of the UK, but they certainly are big names here, and it's absolutely wonderful to have that sort of mixture of incredible music and comedy as well. And then there are some smaller musical performances in some of the other bars and enclosures on the site. So as you wander around the whole site, there is something to see at every turn. It's just wonderful. I'm making myself feel quite nostalgic. Now, this year obviously isn't happening, but next year they have basically recreate. It's the same list of performers next year. So these are just three of them. They usually on a Sunday night do a real sort of classical spectacular, which is fabulous, and it's that sort of good old rousing Elgar and all those sort of last night of the proms type feeling to the Sunday evening, which is a lovely way to wrap up. But definitely Madness, James Blunt and Sophie Ellis Bextor will be there next week. In addition, for three of the main nights, so it's pretty special, as you can imagine. Now, as you can see, these two pictures on the left here are just some of the street performers, and they don't do it by halves. They're wonderful, and as I say, they really interact with everybody just wandering around. And this is the view from the Terrace restaurant on the top right. And we'll talk a bit more about dining and boating because that might be something that your clients will enjoy. And I think if you have clients who are staying, I mean, obviously around this area is very easy, but it's a wonderful option for those staying in London as well, because bringing them out to Henley for the evening, they'll be back in London by 11:30 midnight. It's no distance at all, so it's certainly easy to do. Now, the dining is really, well, it's obviously a huge part of the evening, which is just wonderful. And Angela Hartnett, who certainly is one of our favourite chefs, and she's worked with Gordon Ramsay and all sorts of names, and has quite a few Michelin stars to her name in London. She has taken over the restaurants, and she runs the Riverside Restaurant and the Riverside Canteen. The canteen is the tasting menu, so you have more courses and smaller portions. The Riverside Restaurant is far more your sort of sit down dining experience. Both of them are beautiful. It just depends on your client's taste. The Riverside Restaurant, so that's as you look at the floating stage, those both are to the right. To the left and slightly elevated is, as its name would suggest, the Terrace Restaurant. And this is a bit of a personal favourite because the views from the terrace are just beautiful. You look across to the floating stage. I mean, you can choose to stay and watch the musical performance if you choose. But you've also got this wonderful view across the river with all of the boats just pootling up and down the river as everybody is listening to the music. So it really sort of draws you in while eating all of this delicious food. So there are some lovely options, and there are probably three or four other local restaurants, the Crooked Billet, Spice Merchant, and so on, that serve fabulous sort of turn up and eat type offerings. So if your clients want something just a bit more free flowing, that they can choose their itinerary, then those options will suit them beautifully. All sorts to enjoy, which is wonderful. Now, as with Henley Regatta, we still have the slight challenge of getting in and out of Henley because the roads do get rather jammed. So we avoid the roads like the plague, and we would strongly recommend that we take your clients to one of the surrounding villages outside Henley. We'll put them onto a beautiful river launch, glass of champagne in hand, and they can gently cruise their way into Henley, moor up alongside, and then join all of the festival goers, which is just wonderful. And everybody who does it says they love seeing the whole perspective of the festival site from the river. It's almost indescribable. I've been going every year for as long as I can remember, and it still does take your breath away. And seeing it from the river is just beautiful. And as we saw earlier, with all of the river launches moored up alongside, we will happily arrange for the hiring of one of these beautiful river launches for the evening with a fabulous picnic dinner on board, all served, and lovely wines and champagnes and so on, whatever they choose. And with the tickets, they'll be moored right alongside festival site. So all they need to do is step up onto the towpath, and they're part of the do. So again, it's a slightly less formal dining option, but it's just wonderful. And I have to say, it's something that a lot of the locals choose to do because it really is wonderful. But we'd certainly recommend arriving by boat and leaving by boat actually too. Although you can jump in the car when it's dark. Now, when it's dark, it changes a little bit, but it's still wonderful. The fireworks at the end of the headline act, normally about sort of 10:30, something like that, are utterly spectacular. And we really recommend to our clients that they don't leave at that point, that maybe if they've got a nice pashmina or something lovely just to put around their shoulders, that they amble around and soak up the atmosphere, because they'll see all sorts of small performers dotted around, and there's always dancing to be had, lots of dancing to be had. So every time we feel a little bit chilly, we go and find somewhere to dance to warm up, and that's just the nature of festival. So yeah, it's incredible. It really is just wonderful. And here's just a feel for some of the pricing options. You can just offer your clients the option to buy a ticket and turn up. They can easily get the train from London and so on. If they want something a little more planned and they want to be looked after, as I think a lot of your clients like to be, then here are the different options. And there's all sorts that we can offer. And you may remember from Regatta last week that we talked about the stunning Gloriana. We are in discussions again with the trustees of Gloriana this year about bringing her down. If she's here for Regatta, then she might as well stay for festival the following week. So if Gloriana is moored up alongside, then that would be the absolute ultimate opportunity to dine aboard Gloriana and then wander through for the best seats in the house to watch James Blunt or Sophie Ellis-Bextor, whoever is their choice. But fabulous dining, and just a glorious occasion over 5 nights in Henley. There's some glorious footage on the website as always, but I hope I've painted the picture of something that if your clients are here between the 7th and 11th of July next year, wherever they're staying, it's so worth an hour and a half to come to Henley and just join in this amazing event. It's unparalleled as far as I'm aware. There may be something in another country, but there's certainly nothing here, that's for sure. So I hope I've given you, thank you, Anna. It really is. Yes, fine, absolutely. Well, you'll all have to come. Maybe next year you could plan a trip and come and experience it for yourselves, if not for your clients. But please do let us know if you have any clients who. Yes, absolutely. Um, and please do let us know if you have any clients talking about coming, because certainly to get the best moorings, the best river launches, and also the best tickets, because next year will be a little bit different in that all of our tickets have been transferred to next year. So they will already have sold quite a few. Now, obviously, some of them they will have refunded and so on. But if you have anybody talking about coming over at this time of year, or just any clients you know who really love their music and love this sort of thing, maybe maybe suggest to them that they think about committing to this nice and early, because we want everybody to really have the best possible time. It's very special. Okay. Oh, sorry, Jackie. Well, I'm happy to have a chat with you. Let me just show you. I can show you the um, pricing slide again. And Jackie, I'm more than happy to have a chat with you and talk you through um, what I've just shared about festival. Um, I think everyone will agree I've probably been waxing lyrical about it because I love it so much. So let's just arrange a quick call, and I can talk through it with you. Okay, is there? Brilliant. Um, okay, I think that's it. No more questions. But I'm glad everybody's completely wowed by it. It's well worth it. I promise you that. So we are continuing the theme next week, because this is the heart of the English season. It should be, but we're reliving it through our tea and training. So regatta last week, Henley Festival this week, and we are going for the magical SW19 and Wimbledon next week. So I know from various conversations that there are a few people interested in booking up for next year. So let's get talking Wimbledon and tennis, strawberries and cream, and all of those glorious things. So I hope you can join us next Wednesday, and really look forward to seeing you then. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye.